Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real. Life don't care how perfect your plans are. It don't ask if you're ready. It comes at you fast with no warning. 1 minute you're standing tall, the next you're on your knees wondering what hit you. And the difference between those who rise and those who stay down, it ain't talent, it ain't money, it's emotional strength. Emotional strength is built daily through discipline, not overnight through wishful thinking. Most people want to be strong, confident, and unshakable, but they're not willing to pay the price that comes with that kind of inner power. Emotional strength isn't something you wake up with one day out of the blue. It's the result of small, deliberate choices you make every single day. It's in how you respond when your feelings are out of control, when life disappoints you, when people let you down, or when things don't go your way. It's about how you show up for yourself, even when nobody is watching, even when you feel like giving up. And the truth is, discipline is what separates the emotionally strong from the emotionally weak. Discipline is what keeps you grounded when chaos hits. It's what allows you to manage your emotions instead of letting them manage you. Most people think emotions are something you have no control over, but that's only true if you live without discipline. The more consistent you are with managing your mindset, setting boundaries, staying committed to your values, and holding yourself accountable, the stronger you become emotionally. It's like going to the gym. You don't get strong by thinking about working out. You get strong by showing up and putting in the reps. It's the same with your emotions. You don't get emotionally strong by hoping life will be easy. You get emotionally strong by learning how to stay calm when it's not. You build that strength in the quiet moments, in the early mornings when you choose to pray, meditate, journal, or just sit in your own thoughts instead of rushing into the world. You build it when you walk away from arguments instead of feeding them. You build it when you forgive people who aren't even sorry. You build it when you say no to distractions and yes to your priorities. Discipline trains your emotions like a muscle. You start recognizing that just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to act on it. You don't have to respond to every insult. You don't have to defend yourself every time someone misunderstands you. You don't need validation to be at peace. Emotionally strong people don't move based on emotional alone. They move based on wisdom, and wisdom comes from consistently practicing emotional self-control. But that takes work. That takes discipline. Discipline in how you talk to yourself, in the way you choose your thoughts, in how you structure your day, and in how you protect your energy. It's not always easy, and sometimes it feels like no one notices the effort you're putting in. But over time, those efforts become habits, and those habits build character, and that character becomes your emotional strength. People ask how you stay so calm, how you keep going when life gets hard, how you smile through storms. They won't realize it's because you train for this. You put in the emotional reps every single day. You chose growth over comfort. You chose discipline over drama. You learned to be responsible for your reactions, to sit with your feelings without being ruled by, and to keep showing up even when you didn't feel like. Emotional strength isn't about not feeling anything. It's about not letting your feelings control everything. And that kind of strength can't be fake, borrowed, or bought. It's earned. One disciplined choice at a time. Mastering your reactions is more powerful than controlling external situations. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control everything around them, people, outcomes, conversations, circumstances. But the truth is, none of that is ever really in your control. What you can control is your response. That's where real power lives. That's where emotional maturity begins. Life is unpredictable. People are inconsistent, and circumstances can change in an instant. If your peace is tied to how the world behaves, you're always going to be emotionally exhausted. But when you learn how to master your reactions, you become untouchable in a way the world can't understand. You stop being a puppet to your environment. You stop allowing other people's behavior to dictate your emotional state. That is emotional strength. Not reacting to everything, but responding with intention, wisdom, and clarity. Reactions are often impulsive. They're driven by ego, emotion, and instinct. Someone disrespects you and you react without thinking. You feel angry and you lash out. You feel anxious and you panic. But when you respond instead of react, you pause, you think, you evaluate. You make a decision based on what serves your peace, not what satisfies your pride. That pause is what separates people who grow from people who repeat the same emotional cycles over and over. It's in that pause that strength is born. It's where you choose growth over ego, self-control over drama, and peace over conflict. Mastering your reactions means you understand that not everything deserves your energy, your attention, or your response. It means you've outgrown the need to prove yourself every time someone challenges you. You don't need to clap back, to defend, or to explain. You just need to stay in alignment with who you are and what you value. Every day, life will give you opportunities to react emotionally. Someone will offend you, ignore you, or misunderstand you. Life will throw obstacles your way that challenge your patience, your confidence, and your belief in yourself. But these are not just problems. They are training grounds. They are chances to strengthen your emotional muscles. Every time you choose to respond calmly instead of reacting impulsively, you're proving to yourself that you are in control of your life. Not your boss, not your ex, not your circumstances, you. That's a power most people never tap into because they're too busy trying to control everything else. When you master your reactions, you stop being triggered by everything. You stop letting people steal your joy, your peace, your time. You become more intentional with your words, more thoughtful with your decisions, and more grounded in your actions. And what's more powerful than a person who can stay calm under pressure? What's stronger than a soul that refuses to be shaken by outside noise? That strength is rare because it requires discipline, self-awareness, and emotional maturity. It's not about pretending to be calm or suppressing your emotions. It's about processing your feelings with wisdom and choosing to act in alignment with your higher self. It's about walking away when necessary, staying silent when it's wise, and speaking up when it truly matters. Not when your emotions are at their loudest. The real test of emotional strength isn't how you act when everything is going right. It's how you respond when everything is going wrong. It's easy to be calm when you're in control, but when life throws you into situations you can't control, how you respond then is what defines you. That's when your emotional training kicks in. That's when all those times you chose discipline over chaos pay off. Because at that point, you don't have to control the situation. You've already mastered the one thing that truly matters, yourself. Strong people create boundaries, not walls. They know when to say yes and when to say no. There's a major difference between building emotional boundaries and building emotional walls. A wall shuts everything out, isolates you, and often comes from fear of past pain. But boundaries, they're different. Boundaries are rooted in self-respect. They're about protecting your energy, your peace, your growth, and your value. Emotionally strong people understand that not everyone deserves access to them. And not everything needs a response. They don't say yes to every invitation, every demand, or every cry for attention. They understand the power of no without guilt or apology, because that no is a full sentence. And it's part of how they maintain their emotional health. Many people struggle with boundaries because they confuse them with being mean or selfish. But in truth, boundaries are one of the most loving things you can create for yourself and for others. When you have boundaries, you're not lashing out or withdrawing completely. You're simply being clear about what is acceptable and what isn't. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. Strong people don't blame others for crossing the line if they never drew the line in the first place. They take responsibility for protecting their space. They've learned, often the hard way, that overextending themselves doesn't lead to more love, more appreciation, or more respect. It leads to burnout, resentment, and emotional fatigue. Boundaries also come from knowing who you are. If you're unclear about your own values and limits, you'll constantly be tossed around by the expectations of others. But when you're emotionally strong, you have a firm grasp of what aligns with your spirit and what doesn't. You don't agree to things just to keep the peace if it costs you your inner peace. You don't chase after validation or sacrifice your authenticity to fit into spaces that weren't designed for you. Saying no doesn't make you unkind. It makes you conscious. It makes you grounded. It proves you're living with intention instead of being run by obligation or guilt. Emotionally strong people also understand that setting boundaries isn't just about saying no to others. It's about saying yes to yourself. It's about creating space in your life for rest, reflection, healing, and meaningful relationships. It's about not checking your phone every time it buzzes. It's about not answering every call that drains your spirit. It's about not showing up to events that you know you don't belong at just to avoid disappointing someone else. There is great strength in choosing what serves your growth, even when it disappoints others. Because the truth is, if someone gets angry at you for having boundaries, it's a sign they were benefiting from you not having any. Creating boundaries also means knowing that you can be available without being accessible to everyone. Just because you care doesn't mean you have to carry. Just because you love someone doesn't mean you allow them to drain you. Strong people love deeply, but they don't love foolishly. They don't mistake attachment for loyalty. They don't keep toxic people close out of nostalgia or guilt. They know how to let go, how to detach, and how to protect their peace without becoming cold or bitter. Their boundaries are not barriers, they're guidelines for how love, respect, and communication are supposed to flow. It takes courage to set boundaries, especially in a world that rewards people for being overly available, overly agreeable, and overly involved. But emotional strength doesn't come from how much you give. It comes from how wisely you give, how consciously you choose, and how clearly you communicate what is and isn't acceptable in your life. Gratitude, forgiveness, and perspective are emotional superpowers. These three qualities have the ability to transform how you experience the world and how you handle life challenges. Most people spend so much of their energy focused on what's missing, what's unfair, or what went wrong that they never stop to realize how much peace and power they could unlock by shifting their focus. Our gratitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that even in imperfection, there is something to be thankful for. When you train your mind to notice the good, to appreciate the small wins, to value the people who stay, and to celebrate your own growth, you build emotional resilience. You create a mindset that's stronger than circumstances. You stop waiting for everything to be right to feel good, and you begin to feel good because you see things from a higher place. Gratitude protects your heart from bitterness. It keeps you soft when life tries to harden you. It reminds you that even in pain, there's purpose. Even in loss, there's something you gain. People who practice gratitude consistently are not naive. They're focused. They've chosen to direct their energy toward what uplifts them rather than what breaks them. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. You can go through difficult seasons and still be thankful for the lesson. You can cry and still be grateful for the strength you discovered in yourself. Emotional strength isn't the absence of emotion. It's the ability to carry those emotions and still see the light within the dark. Forgiveness is another powerful tool that emotionally strong people use to protect their peace. Forgiveness doesn't mean you forget what happened. It doesn't mean you allow the same person to hurt you again. It means you no longer allow that wound to control your present. Carrying anger and resentment doesn't punish the person who hurts you. It punishes you. It drains your energy, clouds your judgment, and robs you of joy. Forgiveness sets you free. It's a gift you give to yourself. It allows you to move forward without dragging the weight of past pain into your future. Strong people forgive, not because they're weak or passive, but because they understand the power of letting go. They understand that healing requires release, and release requires forgiveness. Perspective is what ties it all together. It's how you frame your experiences, how you interpret what happens to you, and how you make sense of your story. Two people can go through the exact same situation and come out with completely different mindsets based on perspective. Emotionally strong people have trained themselves to zoom out. They don't get stuck in the moment. They look at the bigger picture. They ask themselves what they can learn, how they can grow, and where the opportunity is in the obstacle. That perspective allows them to remain calm in chaos, to be hopeful in uncertainty, and to trust the process even when the outcome is unclear. Gratitude, forgiveness, and perspective are not just habits. They are disciplines. You have to choose them again and again, especially when it's hard, especially when your emotions are loud and your heart is tired. But every time you choose them, you get stronger. You gain clarity. You protect your peace. You create emotional space for joy, for healing, and for growth. These superpowers are available to everyone, but only those who are willing to look inward and do the work can truly activate them. It's not about having a perfect life. It's about having the right mindset to navigate the life you've been given. Gratitude makes you aware. Forgiveness makes you lighter. Perspective makes you wiser. Together they make you emotionally unshakable. Consistency in self-care, faith, and purpose fuels emotional resilience. Too often people assume emotional strength is something you summon in moments of crisis, but the truth is, it's built long before the storm hits. It's built in the quiet hours, the daily habits, the small commitments you keep to yourself when no one else is watching. Emotional resilience doesn't come from pretending to be okay. It comes from taking care of yourself enough to be okay. Self-care isn't a luxury or a reward. It's a foundation. It's the time you take to check in with yourself, to rest, to reflect, to process, to realign. It's choosing what's good for your spirit instead of what simply distracts your mind. And when that self-care is consistent, it becomes armor. It protects you from burnout, from breakdowns, from emotional collapse. When life gets heavy, emotionally strong people prioritize their well-being without apology. They understand that saying yes to themselves doesn't mean they're selfish. It means they're responsible. They take time to unplug, to recharge, to breathe. They don't wait for life to force them to rest. They build it into their rhythm. They create routines that nourish their body and mind, whether it's through exercise, meditation, journaling, or simply moments of silence. These practices don't eliminate struggle, but they prepare you to face it from a stronger, steadier place. That's what consistency does. It trains your nervous system to handle pressure without breaking. It teaches you to respond instead of react. It helps you stay rooted when everything around you feels unstable. Alongside self-care, faith plays a powerful role in emotional strength. Faith gives you a reason to believe when logic fails. It's the voice that says, keep going when everything in you wants to stop. Whether it's faith in God, in the universe, or in the unseen potential of your future, that belief becomes a source of resilience. It tells you that there's meaning in your struggle, that your pain isn't permanent, that your delay isn't your denial. Faith reminds you that you are not alone. Emotionally strong people lean into that faith, not just in desperate moments, but every single day. They pray, they listen, they surrender what they can't control. Their surrender isn't weakness, it's trust. It's choosing peace over panic. It's believing that even when you don't have the answers, there's a bigger plan at work. Purpose is what pulls everything together. It's what gives your emotional strength direction. Without purpose, discipline feels empty and struggles feel pointless. But when you have a purpose, everything changes. You start to see obstacles as part of your journey. You stop quitting when things get hard because you know what you're working toward. Purpose gives you a reason to show up even when you're tired. It gives you clarity in the face of confusion. Emotionally resilient people are deeply connected to their purpose. It doesn't have to be grand or glamorous. It just has to be meaningful to you. Whether your purpose is to build a life for your family, to serve others, to create something lasting, or to grow into the best version of yourself, that reason becomes your anchor. It grounds you when the world feels chaotic. Being emotionally strong doesn't mean you never break down. It means you've created systems in your life that help you rebuild. It means you've cultivated habits that support your mind, your heart, and your soul. You don't rely on motivation because motivation comes and goes. You rely on consistency. You don't wait for the moment to be perfect. You prepare every day so that when the moment comes, you're ready. Emotional resilience is not a mystery. It's a result of taking care of yourself consistently, nurturing your faith intentionally, and living your life with purpose deliberately. You can't be emotionally strong without first being honest with yourself. The foundation of real strength is truth, not the version of the truth that makes you feel comfortable, but the kind that makes you face yourself without filters, without excuses, and without running. Emotional strength is not about how you appear on the outside. It's rooted in how real you're willing to be with your own heart, your own habits, and your own healing. You can't build resilience on denial. You can't grow if you're pretending everything is fine when it's not. Being honest with yourself means acknowledging your fears, admitting when you're hurt, recognizing when you're wrong, and accepting when you need help. That honesty is not a weakness.